Another fun day with Donald Trump's White House. Okay, he's decided that all these tariffs on China were not going to work out too well. You know, he's going to make the cost of a cell phone go to $2,000 or $3,000 or some silly thing with his idiotic tariffs. He go, oh my goodness. So poor old Hassett, you know, I call him Smiley Face. He has to come on and tell how this was all in the plan. The plan was all there, ready to go. And yeah. And so he explains why these tariffs were exempted certain products. I'm just going to I'm going to put on most of this video and you can watch that. And I want to discuss it later because this is pretty idiotic.
Says everything that happened over the last week and a half went according to plan. Over the course of just a few days, the global market lost trillions in stock value, regained some of it, but not all of it. The strength of the dollar right now is plunging. Consumer sentiment is worse than at any time during the Great Recession. Is all of this part of the plan?
Right. In fact, let's talk about what the trade plan is, because I think that it's very, very important for people to understand, you know, why we're doing what we're doing and how we got to the point where this is the right strategy. The bottom line is that in the United States, there are these things called 232s. You've heard people talk about it. It's a trade action where the government decides that there's something that's a serious threat to national security if we don't do something about it. And so an example, just hypothetical, would be, suppose that in order to protect ourselves from an adversary, we had cannons, but we had to buy the cannonballs from them. Well, then you could put a 232 tariff on the cannonball, and then we'd have to make it here, and then that would make it so that if we ever did have a situation where we're in conflict, that we'd had everything we need to protect ourselves. And so the 232 things were always excluded. They weren't covered by the new actions that you discussed at the opening. And so it's not like, so for example, semiconductors are the key important part of a lot of defense equipment, and there's going to be a semiconductor 232 that studies those things carefully and decides what has to be onshored in order to protect America. And so it was always the case in Annex 2 in the Reciprocal Act that semiconductors were going to not be covered by that action because there's a 232 action that was announced in the executive order that is going to address it. And so,
okay, his cannonballs and stuff, you know, somebody else makes the cannonballs and we put a tariff on the cannonballs so that we will make cannonballs in our blah, blah, blah. This is all just another smoke and mirrors crap. What he's talking about is we reserve, and we should, we reserve the right to not import some of the very high quality, the high performance chips, not transistors, the chips, these things that we put in rocket ships, we put in airplanes, we put in AI, you know, cutting edge products. Cutting edge. We should keep that here. And we do. We make these things. Some of them are made in Taiwan, but we make this stuff. In fact, Biden come up with the CHIPS Act just to do that. The high-end chips. Yeah, let's not sell chips that are clocks or some stupid thing. Let's use these high-end chips. Okay, we don't pass those to China. So what he says, well, the reason and of course we didn't cut off these tariffs, we just suspended them for 90 days so we could understand whether some of the products that are coming from China need to be tariffed so that we can make them in our country. Because they're national security related. Let's see, I got my national security related product right here. It's that thing. Cell phone. Very sophisticated, but it's not high-end chips. High-end chips are far beyond that thing. But what they've included is laptops, cell phones, some screens, and maybe some desktops. I'm not sure on that one. And transistors. Transistor. The transistor was invented in the 50s. And I don't think there's a transistor out there that has national security implications on it. This is all the cheap stuff. I mean, the stuff is sophisticated. This phone is sophisticated as hell. It's got 2 billion transistors in it. It's not national security. He's saying that this 232 thing is going to, we have to be sure that these are not national security. There's national security things where we have to make these in our country. We don't have to make these in our country. So it's just a way to get around this thing. None of these things fall in the category of national defense or anything like that. They're just products, commercial products. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to tariff those things because, you can say, well, Apple, Tim Cook comes and says, Jesus, what are you doing, man? You're going to screw up our whole marketing thing, which is true. But you're also going to get a whole bunch of individuals that are going to say, I need to replace my cell phone. It's 6 years old. The new one's going to cost $3,000. That's what they're saying. And so he's going, oh, no, that wasn't in the plan. He didn't say that, that's for sure, because it was all in the plan. He's fourth dimensional chess and we're playing checkers, right? Anyway, this is just a bunch of crap they put out. They're not going to tariff those products. They may put a small tariff on them or something like that, but we're not going to build those things here. We don't even have the technology to build them because manufacturing has the technology and it's in China. Now, and we can't make them. Even if we could, they would cost $3,000 or $3,500 for us to make the silly things. So we're not going to do it. Anyway, more smoke and mirrors from Tariff Boy. That's in this one.